This podcast is sponsored by the Fireman Moving Company. The Fireman Moving Company is the official moving company of WKU Athletics. Not only can they be trusted to move all the coaches in and out of Western, but they can move you anywhere nationwide. The Fireman Moving Company is owned and operated by firemen and is founded by WKU alumni. If you're looking to move sometime soon, give them a call at 270-791-1755 and get yourself a free quote. Welcome to Topper Talk, your number one Western Kentucky athletics podcast. I'm your host, Stephen Moffitt, and I'm joined by co-host Tyler Bailey. Hilltopper Nation, whether it's happening on the hill or on the road, grab those red towels, stand up and cheer, because it's up next on Topper Talk. All right, welcome back, and thank you for downloading and listening to another episode of the Topper Talk podcast. We are the official podcast of the Red Towel Trust Collective, and we are a proud member of the College Huddle podcast community. As always, make sure you're following us on all of our social media platforms where we're posting daily news and information that is coming out about WKU sports and athletics. We have got another position breakdown series episode to jump into. Tyler, man, you ready to get into it?
Always ready to get into it, boy. Let's go.
And we are going to be talking about the quarterbacks room today. But before we get into that, we have to get caught up with our Red Towel wrap up, which catches us up with all the athletics news and information that we've missed since we last recorded. So, Tyler, hit us with that Red Towel wrap up.
All right, so starting off today, the baseball transfer portal opened, and so far 26 Hilltoppers have entered, including Ryan Weidman, Drew Whalen, Joe Siervo, and Carlos Vasquez, and Ethan Lizama.
Yeah, we always talk about in football and in basketball, the portal giveth, the portal taketh away. And the portal opened just a couple days ago and has not been nice to WKU baseball so far. At this point, it would almost be easier just to list off who hasn't entered the portal for WKU baseball, but it's okay. Just because they're in the portal doesn't mean they're leaving, doesn't mean they're gone. They're checking their options, seeing what's out there, who may be interested. I expect some of those guys will come back. And we actually have already seen one person in Dawson Hall that entered into the portal. He's already withdrawn his name and he's coming back. So don't fret. Have faith in the process. Trust in Mark Rarden and staff that no matter who leaves, they're going to find new talent out there to replace them.
All right, going to be moving on to some basketball news. The basketball team announced the addition of L.J. Hackman to the roster, former JUCO All-American last season at Jones College last season.
Yeah, the most unofficial official news I think we probably have ever shared on Twitter and on the message boards and now on the podcast, because there's been no formal announcement of LJ Hackman signing, even though it's kind of been one of those, you hear it behind the scenes. I've heard whispers of it for several days now, but no official signing notice. But then WKU basketball, is posting summer workouts starting as the team has moved into campus and is starting to practice together. And they posted a picture of LJ Hackman and they tagged him in it. So obviously he's on campus. Obviously he's signed and here and working out with the team. So probably one of the last additions to the team, assuming that probably finishes up the roster. But welcome to the Hill, LJ.
And last but not least, WKU Football was represented in the 2026 National Football Foundation College Football Hall of Fame ballot by 3 individuals, and they include Jimmy Fikes, Buster Ashley, and Paul Gray.
Yeah, always cool to see those people represented on the National Hall of Fame ballot. Don't know that they'll make it past the voting stage, but cool to see Jimmy Fikes, Buster Ashley, who's somebody that I went to school with, way back yesteryear. Not only in Owensboro, but and at Western Kentucky, and then Paul Gray as well. So, yeah, super big honor. Congratulations to all of them. Just proud representatives of Western Kentucky.
And that concludes the Red Towel wrap-up. Moff, I'm going to hand it back to you.
A really good Red Towel wrap-up. A lot of good information and stuff in there, even though it's not been that long since we recorded last. But now we continue with the summer position series breakdown. And this week we're talking about the quarterbacks, like I mentioned earlier. And before we dive into the quarterback room that we'll have this year, first we have to talk about who we lost from last season. And we start with quarterback TJ Finley. He was a transfer from Texas State. He appeared in 3 games last season for WKU. That was the Alabama game, the EKU game, and the MTSU game before he suffered that season ending injury and missed the rest of the season. After the season concluded, he entered the transfer portal. He ended up committing to Tulane, where since then he's kind of had some legal troubles that we won't dive into, but I'm not even sure if he's on the roster there at Tulane anymore. So best of luck to TJ. Then we also lost Turner Helton, who had no appearances in 2024. Obviously, the nephew of Coach Tyson Helton, son of Clay. He appeared in 3 games in 2023. He started the famous Toastery Bowl, where he was famously pulled when we were down 21-0. Insert Caden Veltkamp, who led us from a 28-0 deficit for a miraculous comeback. He entered the portal after the season ended and committed to Georgia Southern, where his dad, Clay, is the head coach. And then the last quarterback that we lost from last season was quarterback Caden Veltkamp. He started 10 games in 2024 after TJ Finley's injury. He threw for 3,108 yards. He completed 66.3% of his passes. He had 25 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, and he was named the Conference USA Offensive Player of the Year last year. After the season ended, he entered the transfer portal, kind of much to the dismay of a lot of the Hilltopper faithful, because he is a homegrown kid. He's from Bowling Green, Kentucky. He played here at South Warren High School. Recruited back in 2021, back when Zach Kitley was still here, and finally got a chance to be the starting quarterback, and actually, did a really impressive job. Won a lot of ball games. Offensive Player of the Year. That's obviously a very nice award that he gathered, but he decided to hit the transfer portal, see what was out there. And then he ended up committing to FAU in the American Conference and reuniting with Zach Kitley, who was named the head coach there at FAU in December. So, Tyler, talk to us about some of those quarterbacks that are no longer on the roster. Obviously, we've got some questions at the end of the episode that we'll dive into who's the hardest to replace, but just talk about the guys that we've lost and are no longer on the roster for this season.
Well, I think the most important one, and as you said, the hardest one was Caden Veltkamp. I mean, the dude probably should have been the starter the entire season last year, including the 3 games, when TJ came. And I feel like everyone had high hopes. And TJ, he seemed like he had it. And I mean, he just didn't. When he played in the Alabama game, I mean, I think it was like 2 or 3 straight interceptions, or at least interceptions in them drives, which put you behind the 8 ball already. And then, Turner Helton, nothing like, he was obviously going to be, a bench warmer, second, third string. And so losing him, it sucked. I mean, he did appear in 3 games, and that famous Toaster Bowl, probably notorious to him. But then Caden, came in, cleaned that up, and then I mean, I feel like the keys probably should have went to Caden right after that. But competition makes you better. Iron sharpens iron. So you bring in TJ. Caden, obviously, though, I think deserved it. He had a really good season last year. He took some hits. I know last year during the season we said probably he needs to stop running the ball, or at least dive, but the boy wouldn't. He was more than happy to take the hits. And losing him, just terrible. And that's probably a prelude to what I'm going to say later on in the podcast. But I mean, Caden has numbers. I don't know what lured him to FAU. I have some ideas, but I mean, it's terrible losing Caden, because, as you said, local boy. He put up numbers, offensive player of the year in Conference USA. I mean, the boy has a bright future, no matter where he is.
Yeah, absolutely. Some tough losses there for sure. Now, let's talk about some of the quarterbacks that are returning and still going to be in the quarterback room from this past season. And we'll start with quarterback Rodney Tisdale Jr. He is number 16 on the roster. He is a 6'2" redshirt freshman. He's from Jacksonville, Florida. He saw no action in the 2024 season. But man, I know the staff is really high on him. Ever since he got onto campus last year, I remember us talking about him last year in the in the quarterback episode, just talking about even young and how raw he was. That the staff was just really hopeful for his future. That if he keeps competing, stays here and fights for it, that eventually he's going to get that shot to be a starting quarterback here. And I think he could be a really good one. The next quarterback is Willie Taggart Jr. He is number 14 on the roster. He is a redshirt junior from Tallahassee, Florida. He is famously the son of Willie Taggart, former quarterback here at Western Kentucky, former head coach here at Western Kentucky. Willie Taggart Jr. saw no action in 2024. In 2023, he was a substitute placeholder for the last 4 games of the season. After the Tom Ellard snafu, where he was ruled ineligible, he ended up coming in and being the placeholder. Willie has also he's been a wide receiver, and then he's been a quarterback, and then he's been a wide receiver again. Now he's back in the quarterback room. So he's one of those athletes that you can just kind of put anywhere. And, I don't know, maybe eventually he'll see some time in the quarterback position. I don't know. I feel like we'll have to have some injuries for that to happen. But he obviously comes from a good pedigree, a good line of athleticism. And if he gets a shot, who knows? Anything could happen. And then the last quarterback we have to discuss is Tucker Parks. He is number 11, your boy, 6'2" redshirt freshman. He is from Spring, Texas, and he also saw no action in 2024. And now we've got to see him, a couple years in a row in spring ball. And, he has a good arm on him, has good pocket presence, and has a good set of legs on him. He will take off and run when needed. He kind of has that versatility of being a little bit more mobile, kind of almost deceptively mobile. When you don't expect him to get out of the pocket, then he just takes off. So, Tyler, talk to me about some of these returning quarterbacks, just what you think of those guys.
Well, I think Rodney Tisdale, he's got good numbers. If you look at what he did in high school, I mean, he did really good. It's a shame that he didn't see any time on the field last season. But as a quarterback, there's only one per team that really gets the max reps, and I feel like he's just biding his time, or at least that's what he needs to do, because I feel like for him the time will come. Willie Taggart, if he can run like his dad, I know we beat him whenever he was down there at FIU. I mean, and then he transferred up here. If he can run like his dad, I would like to really see that as a, I'm not going to say wildcat, because if you throw in a wildcat QB, almost everyone in the stadium knows what you're going to do. But could there be spots in there for a trick play? I think so. And then Tucker Parks, I feel like this could be his year. If he keeps building on, I know he didn't see no action, but if he keeps working out, keeps building, keeps building on that foundation and keeps doing what he's doing, I feel like this could he could definitely see some playing time.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, next we'll talk about the quarterbacks that we signed that are new to the roster this year. And we're going to start with quarterback Caleb McMickle. He is number 10. He is a 6'1" redshirt sophomore. He's from Roswell, Georgia. He transferred to WKU after 2 seasons at Houston. He saw no action in 2023 or 2024. In high school, he was a three-star prospect and was the number 59 overall quarterback in the class of 2023. And then the last quarterback, and likely at this point, the projected starter, I think you can kind of pencil him in as QB1 right now. It's kind of his race to lose at the moment. We have to talk about quarterback Maverick McIver, who is number 7 on the roster. He is a 6'2" graduate transfer from San Angelo, Texas. He transfers to WKU from Abilene Christian University. Over 3 seasons with the Wildcats, he threw for over 8,000 yards. He has 63 touchdowns and completed 61% of his passes, while only throwing 21 interceptions. And during his final season at ACU last year, he threw for 3,800 yards with 30 touchdowns and 7 interceptions while completing 62.52% of his passes. That was good for an average of 294.5 yards per game. All those are numbers that we like to see and that we think will translate well into the system that Tyson Helton and offensive coordinator Rick Bowie like to run. Looking a little bit more at Maverick McIver's biography. As a prospect in the class of 2019, It is his 7th year, 2019, his 7th year in college. He was a three-star quarterback, according to 247 Sports, Rivals, and ESPN. He was the number 25 quarterback prospect in the nation, as well as the number 97 player in the state, according to ESPN rankings. He was rated the number 18 dual threat quarterback in the country when he signed with Texas Tech originally out of high school. Spent a couple seasons there before going to Abilene Christian and now ultimately coming to Western Kentucky. And he was named one of the top 100 recruits in the country by all three major recruiting platforms. And I think his timeline at Abilene Christian kind of came full circle last year when they played Texas Tech in the season opener, and he threw for 508 yards with three touchdowns and no interceptions. Ultimately in a loss to Texas Tech, but kept them in the ball game. With an Abilene Christian team who obviously was undermanned to try to beat a Texas Tech team. But man, just everything about him, his stats, his poise, what we saw at the spring game, just so much of what he brings to Western Kentucky's quarterback room just reminds me. You can't help but think back to 2021 and what Bailey Zappi did when he came to Western Kentucky, from Houston Baptist, with Zach Kitley, and just absolutely scorched earth the entire college football season that year. Everybody could get it. You get a touchdown, you get a touchdown. It was 3, 4, or 5 touchdowns every single game, 400 or 500 yards every single game. And I really think that is kind of the potential that we have here with Maverick McIver. If he can stay healthy, I think this offense is going to be just really a place where he can bloom and just shine and show his full array of talents and just everything that he brings to this offense. So, Tyler, talk to us about these two guys that we've signed bringing in this season. Then we'll jump into those questions.
All right. Well, I'm going to start with McMickle. You're right. He was injured last season. He didn't see any playing time, but in 2023 he was the Houston Scouts Team Offensive Player of the Week versus Sam Houston. So, I mean, he was injured. He didn't see the field, but at least he does have some of that experience now leading into Maverick, which I gotta say, great name. I just saw an article today about how Helton wants it's kind of like the John Wayne. He kind of wants a cowboy back there, and what's a better name than to have back there as Maverick. The boy's numbers just jump out the page at you. I mean, he's obviously a gunslinger. He gets in a rhythm. I feel like he can really hit the guys in space, hit them in stride right when they're going to make a play, or at least he won't try to put them in danger. But and also like that he came out of high school as a dual threat, so it does kind of keep the offensive or the defense honest, which I know teams are going to drop, 6, 7, 8 guys on us, kind of like the teams did later in the season last year. And we're going to definitely have to adapt to that because we can't be getting stopped, from getting that first down or getting that touchdown just because defenses are dropping back trying to stop the pass, because that's what Western's known for, is the passing offense, making big plays, getting into space, and then going. But this is his 7th year. I mean, and I'm saying this kind of jokingly, he ain't no spring chicken. One bad hit, and I hope he don't break his hip, because he is. And I'm just joking on that. I feel like he's still young, but in college football, I mean, what, Dowdy was here 6 years, right? 6. So I mean, this is probably our oldest quarterback that I know of. But with that comes experience, and if he can put up that many yards and that good of stats against Texas Tech, which I feel like that's just going to lead to him being a heck of a quarterback here. Yes, we do have his old head coach as our offensive coordinator, so at least he still has that. There's the familiarity of the coach and the player, and he's going to have all he had spring, summer, and fall camps to get ready for this. He's going to build up a relationship with the offense that I feel like is only going to make us even better this year. And I feel like he's going to be a stupendous quarterback.
Yeah, if you saw the article that I shared earlier today on X or Twitter, it was a Peter Nakos ESPN article. They were talking to Tyson Helton about his gunslinger mentality that he likes to find in quarterbacks. They talked to Maverick. Maverick will be 25 before the season starts, so he likes to be called mature, not old. He wants to be the mature quarterback in the quarterback room. So, like you said, brings a lot of experience, and hopefully a lot of stats and a lot of wins is going to follow him here to Bowling Green, Kentucky. Now we're going to jump into some questions that we're going to ask of every position group that we break down this summer. And the first question is, and I don't want to say that these are going to be obvious answers, but in every group position, these aren't going to be obvious answers, but it might be obvious pretty much all of them on this breakdown series for quarterback, but we're still going to ask them. Tyler, who is going to be the hardest to replace in the quarterback room in 2025?
No doubt it's going to be Caden Bellcamp, in my opinion. I mean, the boy did numbers, and like I said, he wasn't afraid to take a hit, but I feel like that's going to be the hardest to replace.
Yeah, I'm probably one of the few guys that during the season last year, I was really I think I was higher on TJ Finley than a lot of people were. The Alabama game was ugly. I think you can flush that one away. I don't think no matter who played in that game, it was going to be ugly. We ran into a buzzsaw. It was the first game of the Kalen DeBoer era. He was going to make an example out of someone, and we just happened to be team number one on the schedule, and we got made an example of. They didn't have their best season last year, but game one was going to be, hey, this is my team now, and Kalen, sent us to the woodshed. But if you look at TJ's stats against EKU, he threw for over 300 yards, no interceptions. I think he only had one touchdown, but I'm pretty sure we had three Elijah Young rushing touchdowns that game that kind of took away those passing touchdown opportunities. And then if you look at his MTSU game, he only led one drive, the opening drive of that game, and led us down to inside the red zone. I think he was 5 of 7 passing for like 60, 70 yards at that point before he got injured, broke his ankle, and then Caden came in, finished off that drive, and then just had an insanely good game and a really good season, obviously. So I was high on TJ Finley. I thought he was a good quarterback. I think his athleticism and his arm, I think he would have been successful here if he'd stayed healthy last year. That being said, I also was a big fan of Caden Beltcamp. We had him on the podcast after the famous Toastery Bowl. We really got to talk to him about his success during that game and his future here at WKU, wanting to be a eventual starter. He got that opportunity. He made the most of it, and he decided to go somewhere else. Wish nothing but the best for Caden Beltcamp. I think he's going to do really good things down at FAU with Zach Kitley as his head coach. And what is sure to be a high flying offense. That's what Zach Kitley does. We remember that 2021 season fondly. But it's definitely Caden Veltkamp. Even though I'm a big fan of TJ Finley as a quarterback, I think Caden Veltkamp is easily hands down the hardest to replace from last year's quarterback room. Tyler, who is going to be your breakout player in the quarterback room for 2025?
I feel like that's going to probably be QB1, which is going to be Maverick. With the numbers that he's bringing in, I mean, he can obviously pass the ball. He's great at that. He excels at being a QB. I just feel like it's going to have to be him.
Yeah, hard to argue against that one. I thought you might talk about your boy Tucker a little bit, if he got a chance, but yeah, I think it's Mavericks race to lose at this point. I mean, he's coming in with his offensive coordinator. He knows his offense inside and out. I'm sure every single day he's getting more rapport, more reps with his receivers and his linemen and the running backs, tight ends, etc., to get more comfortable with all of them, with all the playbook, all the nuances of the Tyson Helton system that he's learning now here at WKU. So by far, I think it's hard to say that it's going to be anyone else except for Maverick McIver. Tyler, who is your MVP of the quarterback room in 2025?
Hate to sound like a broken record, but it's probably going to be Maverick McIver. Um, like I said, with his old coach being the offensive coordinator, just the that they know each other, that the coach knows what Maverick excels at. I feel like he's going to put Maverick in a great position, and in lieu WKU in a great position to win a lot of games this year, and I feel like he's going to be the MVP.
Yeah, again, I think Maverick McIver is the obvious choice here, and I think it's funny. I've seen several G5 quarterback lists that have come out by various college football accounts on Twitter, and I've shared them and I've quote retweeted them. And my famous line is, "Get ready to learn Maverick McIver," because they haven't included Maverick on their list. And I understand he came from an FCS program. He doesn't have FBS tape and FBS stats, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But if you go back and look at the last 10, 11 years worth of NCAA passing statistics, 4 times we've led the country in passing in the last 11 years. So, in my opinion, you can almost default right in. WKU's QB1 is going to be one of the top quarterbacks in the G5, and I will argue that to the death. And I think that being Maverick McIver and all the talent that we have around him, both on the field and the coaching staff, I think he's going to have a lot of success here and likely parlay that into being an NFL draft selection next year. And I'm really happy and excited for him. And obviously, that's probably going to lead to a lot of success and a lot of wins for us. So I think he's the easy MVP of the season. And Tyler, this one should be good. What have you got? What's your bold prediction for the quarterback room in 2025?
All right, so bold prediction. Imagine this: we're down in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. It's a dry night. Ain't a raindrop even in the state of Louisiana. But game's tied 21-21. For some reason, Maverick gets taken out. Gets pulled. Tucker Parks is sitting over there. All of a sudden, the sound, the sound in the air. I'm sorry. The sound in the air. The song coming on is "There Goes My Hero" by the Foo Fighters. Coach looks at Tucker Parks. He's like, "Son, take us to glory land." Tucker Park comes in there and leads a game-winning drive to beat Baton Rouge or to beat LSU in Baton Rouge. Hilltopper Nation goes crazy. Tucker Parks has a week of his life. Tucker Parks become the MVP of that game. And then the next week, Maverick comes back. He just wasn't injured. The coach just wanted to take him out for that last drive for some reason whatsoever. But Tucker Parks wins the game for us.
You, my friend, have been playing too much college football 25, and I love it because I absolutely hope you're right. I hope the score is higher than 21-21, though. For whatever, I hope it's a shootout and we beat them 63-60 on a walk-off field goal if it has to be. I don't care. I hope it's a crazy game. But I like the bold prediction. I'm actually going to kind of piggyback my bold prediction off what I said on the MVP question. Is those accounts leaving Maverick McIver off of their top quarterbacks, top G, whether it's G5 or all of college football. I just think they're doing a disservice to just how good he's going to be. I think Maverick is going to be a top 5 quarterback in the nation in passing yards. If you saw that article again that I shared today, the John Wayne article, he said, I want to be right up there pushing 6,000 passing yards. And that's right. I think Bailey Zappi was 59-92 or something like that with 62 touchdowns. He was just short of 6,000 passing yards. So I think Maverick has the mindset and the ability and the team and just everything around him that all he's got to do is go out there and have a good season, throw the ball to the open man and let them make a play. And I think he has the ability to do that. And I'm looking forward to him being one of the leading passers in all of college football in 25. So that will be my bold prediction. And with that is the end of our quarterback episode for the 2025 breakdown series. As we have that continuing, now we've done coaches and quarterbacks. Like we've said every single time we've done one of these, man, I really enjoy them. It makes me look into players, their biography, where they come from, just learning more about Caleb, about Maverick, even Rodney and Tucker. Those guys coming back that are still on the roster that, eventually they're going to get a chance. If things happen and injuries do happen, those guys may get a chance and it's next man up. When TJ Finley went down last year, we couldn't hang our head and say, what do we do? It's next man up. Caden came in, was next man up and had a great season. So, we expect that out of Maverick this season. And if for some reason, by some god awful luck, if we have an injury to quarterback 1 this year, Maverick, then we expect Caleb or Tucker or Rodney or whoever gets that opportunity, whoever is QB2, we expect them to come in and be successful. That's why you want to have as much talent as you can in the quarterback room. And it's one of the most important positions on the field at all times. Touches the ball every single play. So really excited to see all of these guys compete and get on the field and hopefully win a lot of ball games. And looking forward to the season starting and obviously continuing this position breakdown series. So Tyler, hit me with your final words and take us on out of here.
Yeah, I just saw a timer. We're like, or a countdown to college football. We're like, what, 80? Is it 89 or 88 days till kickoff, which is crazy to me. But it is getting here slowly but surely. But yes, I like, it was awesome getting read the stats about Maverick and Caleb. I mean, they right there just kind of kind of makes you happy and builds you with hope for WKU football. I mean, yes, I looked up the stats of Bailey Zappi whenever you was talking about it, and his single year here, he had 5,967 pass yards that season. I mean, if Maverick wants to beat that, man, I seriously hope you do, because that would just be amazing. And I feel like we'd win a heck of a lot of games. But I feel like the QB room, to kind of echo you, the QB room does have a lot of talent. It is stacked, just in case one goes down, then it's the next man up. But with that, I hope everybody likes, share, and subscribe. And Mom, who has it better than us?
Nobody, buddy. You know it.
Go Tops.
Go Tops. Later, guys.
See you.